Land.
And there it is.
There it is.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Good afternoon and welcome to the CAD-1 Linking Excel Tables. On keyboards this afternoon we have the very forward-looking Mr. Warren Geisler, Training Center Manager and Technical Manager here at CAD-1, and my name is Stan Henne. I'm the Business Development Manager and the voice in the night.
I know that everybody was expecting to see Michael Calkins, our other instructor, doing this. He normally does the AutoCAD webinars, but we just had a little conflict of our schedule, so I decided to take over because I just can't get enough of the webinar stuff.
So there we go, and Warren is pretty competent. So anyway,
I might not bollocks this all up immediately.
We want to welcome you and thank you. We had a little bit of trouble getting things started there, but we're ready to go now. We wanted to welcome you. You've all seen this screen probably before, but nonetheless, there's the instructions. If you want to minimize the console so that you can get it out of the way and see your whole screen, hit the little orange arrow now, not the double black arrow.
I changed that. No.
Well, you didn't.
Come on, man.
If you want to ask questions, that's probably the most important box. If you feel there's a question you need to ask, feel free to do so. Type it in the question box, and we will try to answer it as close to in context as we can for you. So we welcome your questions. And let's see,
That's just messed up with that picture. I know I redid that picture. This is like constant. I've always got something wrong with my presentation somewhere. So just as a quick test for everybody, for those of you who can hear us, could you click the little raise your hand button?
Just to make sure.
Just to make sure that everybody can hear us. And the raise your hand button does not look like it does in the... I know I redid that screen capture. Okay.
Well, looks like most people can hear us, so that's good to know.
That's good to know.
Let's get rolling and quit wasting your billable time.
Alrighty. So what are we here to learn or talk about today? Just to show you. What we're here to...
Jan.
Jan's already starting.
Ivan, yes, we are recording this, and it's kind of hit and miss with our recording sometimes. Hopefully everything will go well, and it will be available. The best way to get to it will be to go to the CAD-1 website, and then the events archives, and we post them on YouTube, on the CAD-1 channel on YouTube. I'll post the address so you can find that here in just a minute.
Okay. Yeah, and in case we don't have it on YouTube, we still, if we've got the video, we still will put it up on our website. So the video will be available, and neither myself nor Stan nor CAD-1 can be held legally indemnable or reliable for anything that you see today or on the video. Yeah, there we go. All right, so what are we going to talk about today?
Not that you won't try.
Yeah, not that everybody won't try. We're going to talk about, in total, we're going to talk about getting Excel information into CAD. So there are many ways to do that. The main one I'm going to show you is not this one, object linking and embedding. But I've had a lot of people ask me about it, so I threw it into the presentation today. I want to show you what object linking and embedding is and the limitations, which is why I'm not really going to spend a lot of time showing it to you, because there are some pretty big limitations. Now, starting with, good heavens, Jennifer and I were trying to figure this one out. I think it was AutoCAD 2008 is when Autodesk came up with tables inside of AutoCAD. So if you're using, I'm pretty sure it's 2008 and beyond, you'll have this functionality. And if you're using something earlier, now would be a good time to upgrade. So tables in AutoCAD, I'll be talking about what they are for those of you who have not seen tables, and how to create a data link between your Excel spreadsheet and your AutoCAD table.
Well, and Warren, I'm going to put in a bit of a plug here, or sales warning. Please, if you're using something older than 2008 anyway, please, please, please contact us about upgrading it before February 1st, because after February 1st, anything 2007 or older, you will no longer be able to upgrade. So
that's ugly.
Yep.
And I keep trying to tell everybody that, so hopefully you'll get that upgraded. So once we've created the data link, we've brought things into AutoCAD. I'm going to talk about how do you update your tables, and then here's something a lot of people don't know you can do. You can actually update the Excel file from editing things inside the drawing. So what am I talking about here? Let's start with the easy one, OLE. What does it stand for? Object Linking and Embedding. What is it? It's just basically something that allows you to go into one application, copy-paste things into another application. Now, why am I showing this? Is because this is good for everybody who's using Windows. Notice where the technology came from, by Microsoft, which means if you're running AutoCAD on a Mac, what I'm about to show you won't work anyway. So what's it all about? Well, as long as I've got any application, I can link something from a different application or a different program inside of it. The process is relatively straightforward. I can take an AutoCAD drawing and link it into, well, let's say PowerPoint, like I've got here, or Word or something else, or I could take contents from a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet and link them into other programs. Now, what is the linking involved? So the cool thing about the linking is it's sort of like an XREF that gives you a current picture of what that file, what the contents look like. And the other cool thing about linking is it's literally a link, which means when you select over top of that link, the program will actually, whatever program you're in, will actually launch the parent program, like you see there, it just launched AutoCAD, and it will take the contents and throw it in there so I can do some editing. Now I'm thinking, yeah, that's pretty cool by itself.
Jen, you've got your hand raised. Did you have a question? If you do, would you type it into the question box? And if you don't, maybe it's just raised there.
Maybe it's just raised. We'll lower your hand. Okay, so what else? You could do that with, as I mentioned, spreadsheets. So clicking on that launches the program and the contents that are inside there. So it's all pretty easy, all pretty straightforward. Let's do it inside of AutoCAD quickly using Excel. Because a lot of people will say, well, cool, if I can do this, why am I even watching this webinar? What's going on? What am I doing? All right, so you're in one application, like Word or Excel or even AutoCAD or something like that. You find what you want, you grab it, and you just do a copy. That's pretty easy. You come into the other application that you want to put it in, AutoCAD, Word, Access, something else. You right-click, and you paste. Answer a question. Okay, I'm done. All right, Stan, we're done with the webinar. I guess we can close everything down. Everybody's seen it. We're finished. Thanks, everybody, for coming. We're done. Nope, not hardly. Okay, so what I just did was object linking and embedding, copying and pasting from one application directly into another. Here's what it gives you. This is all really pretty. It's got all the information. It looks good. Now, this guy right here that I've got in front of me, uh-oh, what just happened? What is that? Okay, here's what's going on. That is actually an image or a Windows meta file, a WMF file that's been pasted on top of my drawing. So if I print this or plot it, it's going to act like a picture or an image. So just to show everybody what I mean by this is I've already printed it. Let me go into my other folder here, which you all can't see. I'm doing it all back behind the scenes. And, whoops, AutoCAD XL. Guess what I printed it in, everybody? Pop quiz. DWF, Autodesk Design Review. So if I had printed it to a device or anything else, I would be lucky even just to get what I've got here. But take a look. So there's my AutoCAD objects. Look, nice and, I'm zooming in, nice and clean and crisp. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to come over here to my spreadsheet that I linked in here. And I'm going to zoom in for you all. And look at that nonsense. Okay, it's not AutoCAD objects. Remember, this is a picture. So it's going to print like a picture. Even getting this, consider yourselves lucky. The issues and problems that we've had surrounding OLE have been things like, as I showed you a moment ago when I was in the drawing and panning. So watch this as I pan a little bit. We've had that black box actually come out in the print. Other problems, the text is messed up. Or one of my personal favorites, and this seems to be kind of random, if this is a 36-inch wide by 24-inch high sheet of paper, and I've only got a 24-inch wide printer, it's got to rotate my print 90 degrees, but the OLE object won't rotate. So there you go, folks. Very easy, copy, paste, plop it into AutoCAD, you think you're done. Now, the same problems will occur with Microsoft Word. So if you're in a Word document and you try to just copy paste it on top of the layout or something, you're going to get the same thing, an OLE object, and it may or may not work very well. So that's what the whole copy paste thing is. So we're not going to do that. It is good, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is good for certain things, certain applications. If you're doing, you know, PowerPoint presentations like I got right here, or if you're doing a Word document, or you want to give something cool to somebody, like I want to give a copy of pie chart that I did in Excel over to this Word document and into something else, you can do all of that. That's great, that's what it's for, but that's not what we're here for. We are here specifically to talk about AutoCAD tables and putting your Excel information right in AutoCAD tables. So what are they? When you think about it, a table in AutoCAD is just like any other compound object, like a dimension or a block or something along those lines. So a table, when you create one in AutoCAD, comes in as a single object, and it's made up of AutoCAD entities. AutoCAD lines, AutoCAD text, AutoCAD this, AutoCAD that, which means that when you print it, it's going to print just like all the rest of AutoCAD entities, not like that OLE object. The cells inside of an AutoCAD table, it can contain just about anything that you want, text, formulas, and you can even put blocks in there. People have asked if you can use tables, excuse me, if you put blocks in there, wouldn't that make a great legend for your drawing? And yeah, it would. And the best part about it is they are native AutoCAD objects, which means I can give this drawing over to anybody using any version of AutoCAD down to about 2008, and they're going to see my table. It'll print just like it looks, etc. And at the bottom, what do I mean about compound? Gosh, excuse me. What do I mean about compound objects, M text, dimensions, etc.? Tables can be exploded. I hate that word. I hate that command, exploded. Don't explode them. Just because you can explode a table doesn't mean you should be exploding a table. All right, let's take a look at what tables are. Lots of ways to get to the table command. My favorite is to switch over to the annotate ribbon. And about 2/3 of the way across, you'll see the command for table. Starting the command, it brings up a nice little dialog box. We can create different table styles to make the tables look different ways with different formats of text, etc. We can choose how many rows and columns that we want and what type of styles that we want to use. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail here. I just want to show you what a table is. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to plop it down here. Look at that. AutoCAD automatically goes into something that looks kind of like an Excel spreadsheet editor. And put in text, jump around here, put in all kinds of text that I want to. And when I get out, there it is. It is an AutoCAD object. It's got its own grips. It'll act its own way. It will print just like every other AutoCAD object. So there you have it. As far as what is a table, that is it. It's a compound object. It's got its own grips. You can do all sorts of cool things with it. If you hover over the grips, you can see the kinds of things that you can do. Changing column widths, putting in formulas. If I single pick inside of one of these, watch my ribbon up at the top of the screen, you'll see that I can do everything pretty much that I can do in Excel. You know, match cells, change the justification, put in formulas, formats, blocks, all kinds of cool things in there. And then if I double click inside the cell, I'm actually in the MText editor. So notice that the ribbon changes to that. So depending on what you want to edit, what you want to do, tables have a wide range of functionality inside your drawing. And here's one of the functions that you can perform specifically with Excel. It's called data links. Now, what is a data link? It is just that. It will link information from an Excel spreadsheet directly into that table. So for every cell inside the spreadsheet, I've got the exact same cell inside the table inside my drawing. They're created as I create the table. So a moment ago when I was in the table creation dialog box, I've got an option for creating a data link, and it'll bring up this neat little dialog box. The options that you see in front of them are all very important. I'll describe a few of them as we're going through here. They're all very, very important. But don't panic, because if you get through all of this and you say, oh, I meant to do this or I meant to change that option, you can come back into this and you can change them after the fact.
Besides, panicking never does anybody any good.
Yeah, don't panic. I think along with Douglas Adams' books, AutoCAD, when you install AutoCAD, the first screen that pops up, don't panic. It's just AutoCAD. Now, data links are not, the actual link is sort of an object. It's like a proxy object almost, but it's something that is actually stored inside the drawing, just like an XREF. Don't confuse this with the actual table itself. The table is just a table in the drawing. This is just telling AutoCAD where does the information in the table come from. If you were to give somebody this drawing without sending them the original Excel spreadsheet, don't panic. They get to see the table. They get to see all the data. They get to do everything that they want to. It's just that they can't go back and forth like an XREF with updating the table if they don't have the original file, and they don't have the original file in that location. So just like any other XREF, when you open up the drawing, you got to have that file if you want to do editing. Unlike XREFs, though, the cool thing is you still get the graphics. So even if you don't have the link, you've still got the graphics. You want to see it? Let's see it.
Sure, Warren.
let's see it in place. So just like I mentioned a moment ago, I'm in the Annotate ribbon. I'm going to start the table command. I'm not going to worry about the table style. I'm not going to worry about the table style at all, and I'll show you why in a moment. Right here where it says Insert Options, and I really need to get my John Madden pointer going. Okay, so right there where it says Insert Options, and he's going to pass down to here, and he's going to run down here, and he's going to curve over this way and go that way, and boom, and then he's going to, sorry, I just love John Madden. I miss him. So I could start from an empty table, or I'm going to start from a data link. Uh-oh, no data links found. Well, let's launch the Data Link Manager. That's pretty easy. The Data Link Manager is accessible, as I'll show you in one of my PowerPoint presentations or my PowerPoint slides. It's accessible up here. What does that mean? Remember a moment ago I said don't worry about the options I'm about to show you. You can always get back to them. So I'm going to create a new Excel data link. For this one, I'm just going to call it Electrical. Notice how fast I type. BOM for Bill of Materials. This is an electrical drawing in the background for those of you who didn't see it.
Is Excel the only option for data link? Are there any others you would even need? Sean asks.
Hey, Sean. How you doing, buddy? Not really, unless there is a different spreadsheet program. I mean, literally, when we're looking at this, what we're looking at doing is copying the contents of one spreadsheet into something that acts like a spreadsheet inside of AutoCAD while maintaining the link between the two of them. I'll be quite honest, I don't know of any other spreadsheet program other than Microsoft Excel. Do you, Sam?
No, I don't. There might be some of that, you know, the Google Docs and some of that stuff that's coming online that I don't know if that works or not.
What you can do, now remember this is geared specifically for a spreadsheet, but here's the file types that you can use. You can use a Microsoft Excel or a comma delimited file, so a CSV file. So let's say that I've got, like for Sean or anybody else, I've got a CSV file full of survey points, and it's all comma delimited, and I wanted to bring that in. I could do that as well. It's just got to make sure that it maintains some type of format. But for the most part, we're talking about Excel here. Okay, so I'm going to build a link off of my Excel spreadsheet that I've found. Okay. Now, just like, remember I said that the data links are stored inside the drawing, and they're stored inside the drawing just like XREFs, right? So just like XREFs, up here, what type of path do you want? And these are the exact same paths that you've got available when you're tying into an XREF, relative, full path, or no path. As a quick reminder for those of you who have played with XREFs, or for a quick introduction for those of you who have not played with XREFs, let me go over these very quickly. Relative path means that these two files don't have to be in the same folder, but they do have to be on the same server or drive letter. Relative path is similar to our old DOS, for those of you who are old enough to remember DOS, where to change directories you would type CD / or CD dot or CD dot dot, and that's all the relative path does. It says go from here over into this other folder. What that means is I could take that folder structure and I could put it anywhere I want to, and the program will still find it. So let's say I've got a project folder structure, project A, And inside of Project A folder, I've got another folder for spreadsheets and another folder for drawings. No problem. I could pick up that Project A folder, put it anywhere I want to, the program will find it. Full path means that they're not in the same kind of structure, that they're not on the same folder or server, or I don't want to mess around with the whole relative path. Full path means it's got to be in that same location, drive letter and everything from start to finish. No path means there isn't a path. What does that mean? Well, that means that these two files had darn well better be in the same folder. So if they're in the same folder, the drawing and the Excel spreadsheet, I can choose no path. If I give these two files to somebody, or if I e-transmit them, then the files better be extracted into the same folder. Okay, just for giggles, I'll choose full path. And then, which sheet do I want to link to? Now, there is this limitation. You can only link to one sheet at a time. So if I've got 5 sheets, then I've got to build 5 data links. And I've got to attach them 5 different times. If I've got one sheet, I can attach it. I can link to the entire sheet or link to a named range if I've got a named range inside of Excel. For those of you who don't know what a named range is, and I've run into this before, a named range is where you highlight something like I've got highlighted here, and then I would come up and I would actually give it a name, and then when I picked that name, it would highlight that selection. I'm actually going to get out of that. Okay. Or I could just link to a numeric range, like cell A1 through Z5 through B24. Sink my battleship. Notice that the preview isn't showing up because this is a very huge spreadsheet, as you're going to see here in a moment. So sometimes the previews are going to be too large to display. Now, where are all of those cool extra options I was talking about? In Autodesk dialog boxes or AutoCAD-based application dialog boxes, always remember to look at the bottom right where the little arrow is. Plot, this one, all the dialog boxes got that little arrow. And here's all the extra options, and they're all very important. If you want to get into a whole lot of detail about them, always hit the help button and you can get into a whole lot of detail. But let's cover them just pretty quickly here. The cell contents. Basically, when I'm bringing an Excel spreadsheet, do I want to hang on to the formulas and have it try to copy the formulas over and all the data formats? You know how you can format an Excel spreadsheet cell as like a date format or a monetary format or something along those lines? It'll try to hang on to those. And at the other end, at the far range, no, don't bring me any of the formats, don't bring me any of the formulas, just convert everything over so I don't have to worry about it. Why is that there? For those of you who've played around in Excel and done a lot of cool things in Excel, you'll probably know that you can get into some really incredibly weird formulas inside of Excel. So in some instances, you may not want to bring the formulas over. Quick case in point, one of the things that you can do in Excel is you can actually grab information from one sheet, pull it into another sheet and do something. Well, guess what? That isn't going to come over in AutoCAD too terribly well because I can only link to one sheet at a time. So think about it. When in doubt, just leave the default settings on. Now here's the important one. Here's the one that's going to be really cool. Allow writing to the source file. I'm going to show you how to do that. As long as that's checked, I can actually edit my table in AutoCAD and push the edits back to my Excel spreadsheet. And then what type of formatting do I want to use? Remember I was showing you the different table styles that you could have, and I don't have any, and this is why I'm not worried about it. Use the formatting that's in Excel and just kind of turn that into a temporary style. See, I've gone to all that effort to make that table look really cool. Let's bring all that the same way into AutoCAD. Alrighty, so those are all your options. I'm going to hit OK. It's now created my data link, which is now going to show up in my XREF manager. I'm going to hit OK again. And I hit OK 5,000 times. You know AutoCAD. All right, so I found the data link. It's finding it. Again, the preview isn't there. Notice how all of this information over here on the right is grayed out because it's going to pull all that information right out of the Excel spreadsheet. So it's not going to change any of this stuff, including the cell styles or up here at the top right or top left, your other right, your top left, the table style. It's not going to use any of that. So that's how to create a data link. And you can create as many data links inside one drawing as you want. If I hit OK, trying to insert a table. I'm going to plop the table down. There it is right in front of me. It looked just like that table I was using a moment ago inside of Excel. The difference is that this is an AutoCAD table. Look, it's got grips. It acts like AutoCAD tables. It'll print like AutoCAD tables. It's not one of those OLE objects. If I go into my XREF manager, pull this out a little bit so everybody can see it, you'll notice that I've actually got a couple of drawings that are XREF'd in here, and all of a sudden it says now electrical BOM, and it'll tell me that it's a data link. So that just tells the program that this table is currently linked to a spreadsheet. If I lose the spreadsheet, no big deal. I'll still see this. It'll just be kind of static at that point. Hopefully, so far so good. So data links are created as you're putting in the table, and as I just showed you, they're stored in the drawing file just like any other XREF. Don't confuse the name data link with the actual table object itself. Two different things. So now that I've got the table in there, I want to talk about updates. Actually, you know, because I'm talking pretty fast and we're not doing too badly, I want to switch back over to AutoCAD real quick.
Yeah, do something slow.
Yeah, do something kind of slow. I'm going to pan slowly, talk slowly. Okay, one of the things that you can do with tables, it's called, what the heck does that mean? Revocation for... Quick. Oh, it's a Java thing.
Quick, get the dictionary.
Yeah.
We've been revocated.
We've been revocated. What the heck is that? That's that Java update that I plugged in this morning, and it's been acting up ever since. So if you guys get the Java update warning or the Java update message, you might or might not want to update your Java. It sure has been acting funny on my computer since I updated it.
Is that wishy-washy or what?
Yeah.
You may or may not
want to. If it were me and I could go back in time, I wouldn't do it. So the things that you can do with tables. Tables have what's called table breaking in them. So you notice that my content in here, rather than doing multiple sheets, person just did one sheet. But I've got the header information up here repeated over and over again, and then they put a big red line for the footer. If I grab the table, you notice all the grips. Look at this cool cyan grip at the very bottom. It's called table breaking. If I grab that cyan grip and I start moving it, look what's happening. It's actually going to break the table wherever I want, and it'll keep breaking it up until I select the new location for it. It's still one object. It's all still one object. So if I want to move it, if I want to rotate it, if I want to do any kind of editing, I can grab this, and it's all still one object. I can do my editing, and I can change the table breaking. I can also change the location. So I could grab these grips inside here. I could move the tables closer to each other, etc. And I think this is in my presentation later, so I won't get into that currently. Now, let's talk about updating. So somebody gets into my database, my Excel spreadsheet, and they want to make some changes. As an example, this first guy up here is quantity. It's not 5. I mistyped it. It's actually 15. Actually 15. So let's talk about that. Get back into my little presentation here. Updating from the source. Okay, so there's that button that's on the toolbar. So the first thing, the Data Link Manager stores all the information for the file that you're linked to. Remember, it's got the information. It's the actual data link. So what if I wanted to, if I didn't set all of those options as I was doing, if I didn't set all those options properly, like maybe I unchecked the whole writing to source kind of thing or any of that, there's a quick way of getting to that linked file. I just launch that Data Link Manager and I right-click my data link, and I can get in there. I can rename it. I can actually open, check that out, I can open the Excel file from inside of AutoCAD, or I can edit the data link. Once I've made some changes inside my Excel file, there's actually a couple ways of updating the AutoCAD table. I've got a button in there. If I grab my table, I've got a button in the ribbon that will say download from source, or In my right-click menu, which I always like right-click menus, under Data Links, I've got Download Changes from Source File. Take a look at that. So here I am. I'm back in my spreadsheet. Now, let me run through this. Actually, I'm going to close that and say Don't Save, because I really like this. Whoops. In my ribbon, I've got the Data Link Manager, which I just showed you. I'm going to select that. There's my data link. I want to right-click the data link. And if I need to change any of the options, I just choose Edit. And there's all the same options that I showed you a little while ago as we were building it. So pretty easy. Now here's something that I think, honestly, is really pretty cool. If working in a multi-group office, and I've done the data link, and then 2 or 3 months later, I forgot where that spreadsheet was, and I'm trying to find it, and I'm trying to open it to make some changes, I don't need to worry about that. I can come into my AutoCAD drawing here, right-click that, and I can open up the Excel file, and AutoCAD will find that spreadsheet for me, wherever it is, and it'll open it up for me in Excel. So I don't have to go double-clicking my life away just to find an Excel spreadsheet. If I've got it hidden somewhere, I've just got to go into my Data Link Manager and launch it from there.
Just picturing double-clicking your life away.
Did you see that? That's got to be a cartoon somewhere.
I've heard it before, but it always amuses me.
You know that little animated GIF of the guy who's working at a computer and he starts banging on it, he starts banging his head on it, and everything turns into a bloody mess?
Yeah.
They ought to have one of those where the guys just double-click, and you watch, and he starts aging in front of you. That would be kind of cool. Okay, so for any of those of you who know how to do an animated GIF, build that up and email it to me. I think that would be kind of fun. All right, so somebody makes the change. It could be you making the change. It could be an engineer making the change. It doesn't really matter. In order for me to get the changes, though, that person has got to save the file before they get out of it. So while they're making the edits, I can't update my data link or I can't update my table. But as soon as they've saved it and they've plopped down on the hard drive, while I'm working, AutoCAD has a heartbeat. Now because, don't get used to this. Everybody's seeing the little balloon that's popping up.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, boom, boom. AutoCAD's heartbeat. Actually, AutoCAD's Autodesk heartbeat. Beep. Anyway, so for those of you who see that little balloon notification popping up, it popped up that quickly just because I've got both of the files on my same system and I'm the one who did the editing and then jumped back into AutoCAD. If somebody else does the editing or if you're not the person who did the editing, then this balloon will pop up, but it may take up to 5 minutes because AutoCAD, I think, has about a 4 to 5 minute heartbeat where it keeps changing or checking the file to see if the file has changed. Alternatively, the next time I get into this drawing, let's say I save it, close it, and reopen it, then that balloon notification pops up. In case you all are not knowing what I'm talking about, it's this guy right here, little balloon notification. It's sort of like the XREF update. You all have played with XREFs and seen the XREF notification pop up. It says, hey, your XREF has changed. Click here to update it. So as this window pops up, I can click that option there that says Update Table Links. I can, if I want to, pick a cell inside of my table, and I've got this download from source, or I can right-click, and I can go to Data Links, and I can download changes from source files. So actually, my PowerPoint presentation was mistaken. There are not 2 ways of doing it. There's 3 ways of doing it. Except that some people, crazy as it may sound, have disabled all their balloon notifications. So they don't get notified anytime anything changes or anytime. And I know one of the reasons people disable all of those is the new layer notification thing, and they say, just turn off all my balloon notifications. Shut them all off. Well, you might want to just shut off that one. All right, so I'm going to update the tables. Select that key, zoom in, and there's my changes right in front of you. So if somebody makes a change to the outside and I know that they've made the change, I can manually update it. If I don't know that they made the change and I'm working in AutoCAD, all of a sudden at some point I'm going to see that balloon notification pop up. Or the next time I open up the drawing, the balloon notification is going to pop up. So just like an XREF, everyone, this is going to be very hard to get out of sync with that original file. Now if that original file were to move, I've got to go into that Data Link Manager and I've got to point back to it. cracking up over there.
Well, Juliana, who joins us on many of our webinars, always has these lines that she sends in that are really usually pretty darn funny. And she says, new opening line for geeks, can I see your plugins? And when you're sitting here in the middle of a webinar trying not to laugh, the first thing you're going to do is laugh.
Hey, baby, can I see your plugins? Ooh. They should have had something like that out at Autodesk University this year.
What would your plugins and some eggs look like in the morning?
Oh no!
Let's get back
on track here. It's going to get worse and worse. Remember, nothing that is said here can be held against us. We're not legally indemnable or liable or anything else.
And that brings up the ever popular, would you hold your plugins against me? Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Juliana, see what you did?
All right, back onto, what the heck are we talking about? Oh yeah, Excel inside of AutoCAD. Excel linking inside of AutoCAD. So you saw how to do it. You saw what it is. It comes in as a table. And I just showed you that if somebody edits the table, even if it's not you, you can bring in those edits and you'll get the notification for those edits. But
yes, they are recorded, Paul.
Yeah. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to delete that recording here in a little while. Okay, so I'm in AutoCAD. I don't know where the spreadsheet is. I'm looking at my AutoCAD and I realize, oh my goodness, that 15, that's not correct. It's actually really supposed to be 5. I don't know where the spreadsheet is. Maybe somebody will put it in a folder that's hidden, or an engineer put it somewhere that I don't have access to. So how do I make those changes? Okay, first step is unlock the cells. What the heck am I talking about? Unlock the cells. Okay, watch my mouse as I select this guy, and I move my mouse around. Take a look at my crosshairs, or actually just above my crosshairs to the right. You're going to see 2 little icons. The second icon, for those of you who have not seen it before, is chain link. That means that this is linked to something else. The first icon, everybody should be used to. There's a million of them inside AutoCAD. It's the lock icon. That means that the contents are locked. Look, if I hover over it, it'll even tell me at the very bottom of this little window that my tooltip, lock state, the content is locked. So that's what I mean. If I try to double-click inside here, I can't double-click inside. I can single-click, but I can't double-click to edit any of this because the content is locked.
Warren James has a quick question here. Do you need a table style setup before data linking?
Good question. Good question.
There you go. I am trying to link an existing panel schedule, but it is trying to do it with the default table style, and my cells in AutoCAD are all blank. So there we go.
Good question. Actually, let me back up a little bit. I'm going to use my slideshow to back up a little bit here just to answer that question. Okay, so when you are creating the data link, over on the right-hand side, you'll see where it says cell formatting. If you've done a lot of really cool stuff like you saw that I had in Excel with the text and the colors and all of that, you're going to want to use the Excel formatting. You've got a couple of options if you do use the Excel formatting. I want to keep it updated, so if somebody changes the Excel formatting, then my drawing will update, or I could say start with the Excel formatting but don't update. Now, alternatively, what if I didn't do anything cool inside of Excel and I wanted to do something cool inside of AutoCAD? Whoops, back up there. And it's not going to be there. So that being the case, when I'm creating the table, remember that I can choose the table style. So if I've unchecked that box to say don't use the Excel formatting, I can choose the table style that I want. If I want to use a table style, then that table style must exist in the current drawing. Think of table styles just like text styles and dimension styles. If I wanted to jump in and launch the table style dialog box, this is where I can go in. I can create new table styles. I can edit existing table styles. This box can be a bit involved, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time in it, but just wanted to show you that if you want to use one of your own styles, then yes, create one of your own, keep it in the drawing, and when creating that data link, uncheck the box to use the Excel formatting. Okay, scroll back down here. Updating from AutoCAD. So step 1, unlock the cells. As you see, as I showed you just a moment ago, the content for the cells is going to be locked. So how do I unlock it? Well, just like everything else in AutoCAD, there's 10 different ways of doing anything. So I could grab the cell, I could come up to my ribbon, and I could grab multiple cells to do this too, and I can use that cell locking and uncheck it or set it down to unlocked. That's one way. Or I can grab one or more cells and just right-click. And in my right-click menu, you'll see locking, and I can do it there. So that's step number 1. I need to make a change to this number 15. I grab this, I can go to cell locking and unlock the cell. Now when I hover over that cell, there we go. That's actually what I wanted to see. Now when I hover over that cell, you're going to see a different kind of icon. That icon is letting you know that it is a data link and the cell is open, as opposed to this guy down here, data link, but the cell is closed.
Warren, a couple questions came in while you were hovering there. Let me get to those.
Hovering.
Can the data link update activity be made to update a change log or revision log contained in the drawing, i.e. to track who made a change and when? That was submitted by Ivan.
Ivan, basically all we're doing here is we are taking the contents of an Excel spreadsheet to bring it inside of AutoCAD and make sure that those contents keep their association. When you're talking about change logs, yes, we can update change logs in the Excel spreadsheet and have those updates come in here, or I can come in here and manually make a change to a change log and then push the edits back. What I can't do is if you've got some little application that updates the change log or the spreadsheet inside of AutoCAD automatically, it can't do that to this type of table because it's all locked. I could try to maybe unlock all the cells to allow that application to work, but weird things may happen. Now, having said all of that, I know that there are some third-party applications or add-ons for AutoCAD that will do change tracking or edit tracking. This probably wouldn't be the way that I would do it, to be quite honest. I would go online and find one of those little third-party apps.
And Ron asks, can you export a table style to another drawing when you create a new style?
Awesome. Good question. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There are a couple ways of doing it. If you're lazy, efficient like me, the quick and easy way is once I've created a table style, if I've got a table in my drawing using that style, I want to copy-paste that table into a new drawing. When you copy-paste something from one drawing into another, it not only brings those objects, but it brings the layers, the styles, the settings, everything. So that's a quick and easy way to do it. Now another way, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, why aren't you using this other tool because it's been in AutoCAD for like 20 years. The other way to do it is this little tool right here. Once I've created a table style, it's going to show up in the AutoCAD Design Center, and I can use this tool to open up my table styles and to drag and drop one style from one drawing into another. When using the Design Center, if you've never used this before, when I drag and drop something from one drawing into another, let's say I want to grab this and pull it into my current drawing, I would drag it and drop it into my current working space, not on top of a ribbon or the command line or anything else. The other thing is that I can't drag and drop something with the same name. AutoCAD always ignores things with the same name, so make sure you name your table styles appropriately.
And then Kim asks, can you link to Microsoft Access Table or SQL Server Table?
That's another good question. Not using this tool. Typically when we think about linking to an Access database or a SQL database, and remember, please, that a table, when you're thinking about an Access table, a table is nothing more than an internal viewing tool that Access has for the actual data. So you're not really linking into a table. What you're thinking of doing is linking into the data. And this tool won't allow you to do something like that. Typically when we want to link to a database, we want to take records out of the database and link them to objects inside of our drawing. So that would be, I would use Autodesk Map for something like that. Now, alternatively, somebody might pop up and say, well, no, I actually want to take the data out of my database and I want to bring it into AutoCAD and make it look like a table. You've got a round-robin way of doing that. In Excel, where's my Excel spreadsheet? There it is. In Excel, so I had an Access database. So in Excel, when I create a whole new table, I want to insert information. There it is, data. There it is, data from Access. So top left, I want to build a table by doing an ODBC link to my Access database. I've actually done this, and it works very well. I've done it with a very huge SQL database so that I could do a pretty color spreadsheet and then bring the spreadsheet contents into AutoCAD. So you do have to jump through a couple hoops, yes, but in order to do what I'm doing here, I have to have an Excel spreadsheet. So if you want to bring in Access data, create one by using an ODBC link.
And again, if you're really looking to actively work with the SQL or actually Oracle or Access data, AutoCAD Map does have tools for doing that because it's used for dealing with coordinate systems and so forth and so on. And then if you're looking for something, obviously this is an AutoCAD presentation, there's a great tool for the Revit world that we hope will soon be available for AutoCAD and Civil 3D and things like that as well, called DataGate that we carry. So that's another tool that you could consider.
Yeah, these tools that Stan's mentioning are really geared for taking the data out of the spreadsheet and linking the actual data to objects in your drawing. So let's say I grabbed a block or a fire hydrant symbol, I'd see all that data. Mm-hmm. So now remember, getting back to this, if I've got a lot of cool data inside of an Access table or an Access database and I just want to bring it into my drawing as a table, yeah, you can do that with plain AutoCAD. Just jump through that one extra hoop of creating a spreadsheet. In
fact, that might be a good presentation for us in the future. I know we've done some in the past, but handling data between actual programs. Data,
real
just
data.
Tables.
So I'm back in AutoCAD, and I need to make that change. I don't know where the database is. It's still there. It's still linked. But now that I made that change, I want to be able to push the edits back. So step number one was I'm going to unlock the cell. Step number 3, upload changes to the spreadsheet. And you do that by using this button, Upload to Source. It's in the Annotate ribbon. And, of course, I can always right-click. I've given everybody a second or two. Nobody's typed in anything because I know everybody's thinking about this. Okay, Warren, you went from step 1 to step 3. Step 1 was unlocking the cell. Step 3 is upload the changes. All right, everybody, pop quiz. What is step 2? Make the edits. Okay, I'm not going to put that in a spread or in a PowerPoint presentation. So yeah, you unlock the cell, you double-click inside there, you make any edits that you want to. Now that I've done that, I can come into here and using my right-click menu, which I'm going to do this time, I'm going to upload user changes to source file. See a little window down there? Now, what just happened? I just got that window, it just says data link has changed. But the data link didn't change. I actually updated my AutoCAD drawing. But yeah, the data link did change because I just sent my changes back to the spreadsheet. AutoCAD doesn't care where the changes came from. Could have come from somebody opening it up in Excel. It could have come from somebody making the edit inside of AutoCAD. All the program knows is, hey, Warren, that spreadsheet just changed. You need to upload changes. No big deal. Just click on this. Nothing's going to happen. It's just showing me that, yeah, my changes, in fact, did get made. Let me show them to you. Launch that. Now, I could not have done this if the spreadsheet had been open. I mean, obviously, only one user can get into the spreadsheet at a time. But there up at the top, it's back to 5 rather than 15. That's another thing I do want to point out very quickly. These edits and changes going back and forth, pushing the edits back to the spreadsheet. Remember, the spreadsheet can't be open or locked for edits. Otherwise, that isn't going to work.
Can you also upload format changes to the source, asks Brandy.
Well, as a matter of fact, when I was doing this, that's a good question because I have not tried that by changing the format like into a percentage or something else. I know that we've got the options for setting the formats, but I'm not 100% certain if the format will go with it as well. Good question. Somebody stumped me. I gotta send her a card or some CAD-1 swag or something.
Flowers and chocolate.
Yeah, flowers and chocolate or something else like that. That's a good question. I've got a minute here. I know we're almost running out of time, but I ought to check that out. Now, the other thing to remember is that after I've uploaded the changes to the source, after I've done the unlocking, look what happened. It relocked it. So after you upload the changes, the program's going to relock all the cells that you've unlocked. So it's not very easy to maintain that unlocked status inside of the program. Okay, whoops, get back into here. And that's going to start to finish this up. Now actually, we've got about 9 minutes. Okay, since she asked, and I'm curious, let me try that. I'm going to go to my locking. I'm going to unlock this. I am going to change the data format to currency. And then, there we go, enter, enter. I'm now going to upload my changes to the source file. Didn't get a warning message and then it's still locked. I'm thinking that the answer to your question may be no, because 0 data links written out successfully. 1 data link could not be written out. So my quick answer to that last question of pushing out the data formats is no, based on what I just saw here.
There may be some convoluted way to do it, but
yeah,
not here. Let's see. Yes, at the end of this presentation, can you mention about the health check again?
You weren't happy to,
Jan.
Yeah, and speaking of the end of the presentation. All right, so, and I didn't have my wrap-up slide, which I normally do, so I apologize. So let me go all the way back to my objectives slide so we can make sure that I talked about everything I said I was going to talk about. All right, so we talked about what object linking and embedding is, or OLE. We showed you what it is, and I also, most importantly, showed you what the limitations are. It's basically a picture inside your drawing, may or may not print or come out properly. And very, very important for those of you with Macs, you don't have OLE. It's a Microsoft technology. Showed you what tables were inside of AutoCAD, compound objects that are relatively new, 2008 and beyond. And we can create a data link to a spreadsheet so that our table gets populated with that information. Once we've done that, we can update our tables by editing the spreadsheet, and we can update the spreadsheet by editing the tables. Skip through the rest of this, and for those of you watching all of this, if you've got any last-minute comments or questions, now would definitely be the time to do it. And Stan, I'm going to turn this over to you to talk about our Facebook and Twitter and all that.
I will do that. We are on Facebook, so like us. Twitter, let's see, I'm not even sure. Is that Haley's blog there?
The second one, the Twitter account, the second one, Civil 3D plus that blog down there, that's Brian Haley's blog, the Civil 3D Plus. So for those of you who are on Civil 3D here, watching this presentation, definitely get onto his blog. Brian Haley was given an award, by the way, out at Autodesk University from Carl Bass, the CEO of Autodesk. He is now
an elite technical resource. That's not the exact term, but it's
the exact term is an Autodesk Technical Elite, I think it is what it's called.
Yes, that's what it was.
Autodesk Technical Elite. It'll be up on our website here shortly. We're getting all the marketing cool stuff and the pictures to embarrass him by and put it up there. But he's an Autodesk Technical Elite. There's only like 60 of them on the planet.
It's kind of like being an AIA fellow or something like that. It really is an honor.
Yeah, it's a big honor, and what it is it's given to people who are leaders in their community. And you're thinking, it's AutoCAD. What kind of community? We're talking about an online community. People who respond to the discussion groups, work with people in different discussion groups. Remember, there are several different discussion groups. There's AutoCAD ones. There's ones out there that Augie hosts, and several others. So Brian Haley is on all the different discussion groups answering and helping people out. He's got his own blog, as you see here. He's got his own Twitter feed. So any questions that anybody ever has on Civil 3D, he's definitely the person to talk to.
That's right. And thank you for all the congratulations. We will pass those along to Brian. And Jan, you asked about our health check program. Our health check program is a program that we've kind of been doing for some time, but we kind of formalized it this year because we've had a lot of people who maybe they have Civil 3D, Map, even AutoCAD, but usually something more like Civil 3D, Map, Revit, something along those lines, where they've been using it for a while and they've either developed a lot of bad habits or they go, usually the first question is, am I doing this right?
Yeah, and I know, looking on the list of attendees, I know a lot of you, and I've known a lot of you have asked that question. I think I know what I'm doing. I've got the training, but I want to know, am I doing this right? Can you just watch what I'm doing, and am I doing all this right? And as Stan mentioned, that could have to do with MAP, tying into GIS data, or Revit, building Revit models, or Civil 3D. Am I building surfaces right? Am I doing all this right?
And so what we come out and do, we've put together a package that kind of a question and answer sheet that we come out, we talk with you, we watch your process, and this can be anybody from a single person shop to a large shop. And we come out and we go through the questionnaire, we watch the process, we walk you through some things, and then we take that back and we to the office here, and we run it through the Craniac computer there, and then a few days later we spit back a report to you that kind of shows you where you could improve, things that you could do. Maybe it's some additional training, maybe it's kind of tweaking your templating some, so forth and so on. So it's been a really popular program since we started it earlier this fall. A lot of people like the idea. It's not terribly expensive.
Actually,
and
what Lawrence said yesterday, said we don't have a price for it, so it's free right now.
It's free right now, but it's we're kind of looking at about $7.95 to do it, and then if there's additional services, we'll kind of deduct that from any services you go with us on. But good program if you're needing some help there. So anyway, I guess we're...
So other things that we do along with that, I know you all have seen this slide up here, our classroom training, our mentoring implementations, and when we talk about the health check, it's just, if you take a look at all these things that we offer, it's just a way of us combining all of that in a way that makes sense to people of what they may or may not need. And last but not least, if you want more information about what we've been talking about here today, please send us an email or give us a call, talk to your sales rep, talk to the tech people, or talk to Stan directly. Keep up on our website in the events calendar or in the events section and in the training calendar to see what's new and what's coming up. We try to keep everybody up to speed and up to date with all the different webinars that we've got coming around.
And please, really, there's going to be some changes to the way Autodesk does upgrades and a number of things. We've still got time to do it,
still got a couple minutes, Jan.
No, there's going to be some big changes to the way Autodesk handles upgrades and some other things the 1st of February. So if you're current on your software or it's a couple years old, you're probably not going to be affected. If it's older software, you may want to give us a call and just make sure that you're in good shape. We don't want to see anybody kind of get blindsided. This stuff's too expensive to mess with. So anyway, that does it for today. Thank you very much, and we will see you in the future. Bye now.